This be okay. And it's great because now all of you beautiful souls are here, have jumped on to the live, and we are here, and it's a beautiful Saturday, and everything is good in the universe. How are you guys feeling? How are you guys feeling? I want to chit chat for a minute about how we're feeling under these energies, and then we will get into the broadcast for the report part of this, which will be for all signs of the video. Thank you so much um, for coming in and being here, and for your support of this channel. Those of you who book readings with me, who donate, give little super chats and stuff on the channel and buy my courses, like all of this support helps me to keep doing this work. So thank you all. All right. So, oh yeah, I wanted to talk about a little thing that happened yesterday in the astrology. And so we'll do this first. We'll talk about this little thing that happened yesterday, and then we'll get into the different signs for the Jupiter direct. Jupiter direct is happening on December 31st. That's coming around the corner. It'll be here before we know it. But it's kind of especially interesting to me because we have Jupiter direct after Mercury went retrograde and retrograded into Capricorn and had the Cazimi in Capricorn, and then will come out of retrograde next month. So we'll have Mercury coming out of retrograde in an earth sign while Jupiter is going direct in an earth sign. So this really does put a lot of focus on our long-term goals. And right now, especially, feeling the problems, like being aware of the problems. So I just want to remind everyone that if in the last few days, especially around the 20th through the 22nd of September or December, you guys have felt more aware of stuff that is wrong in your life and what you need to do to fix it. And maybe not even knowing yet quite what you need to do to fix it, just knowing there is a problem, and maybe even getting more clarity on the problem. In order to get clarity on the problem, we have to know what it is. We have to really know what we're working with. And this is something I think a lot of spiritual people get wrong, is that we want to just feel good all the time sometimes, right? We want to just meditate and like clear those negative emotions. Now, negative emotions can be cleared. That's all fine. But sometimes we actually need to listen to what the negative emotion is telling us. Sometimes we get further by kind of diving into, oh, this is crooked. That's going to bother me. Kind of diving into the negativity and being willing to kind of see it and go into it and embrace it, and not choose to recreate problems but sit with it. Sit with the pain, sit with the challenge, sit with the discomfort long enough to see it and face it. Yeah, Carolyn says, been doing shadow work. Yeah, exactly. So there's kind of a big event that happened yesterday, and that was Mercury Cazimi the Sun in Capricorn. Now, Cazimis are, I've found since I've been studying astrology, one of the best ways to really understand an energy is to just track the Mercury Cazimis, right? Because Mercury goes retrograde like a few times a year. And every time it does that, it is doing this dance with the sun. And halfway through the retrograde, Mercury meets up with the sun. And the metaphor for this is getting burned up by the sun. So getting purified, hitting the reset button. And that reset button is going to look very, very different depending on what sign it is in. And I'm just going to share what happened for me during the last Mercury Cazimi in my 12th house versus this one. Okay, so the last one was around September-ish, and I got stung by a scorpion. Now, this could partly be because I have Mars-Pluto in my chart in Scorpio, so like, I don't know, getting stung by a scorpion might like be in the chart already, if that makes sense. Bugs. Ugh, there's always bugs where I fucking live. I've lived in so many places with bugs. Like one time I had this house sit and they didn't tell me they had an ant infestation. And by the time they got back, there was ants everywhere. There were ants everywhere. This is a problem in California. A lot of people have ants in their houses, man. And they just, like, I don't know, are fine with it, live with it. Ugh, I don't know. Anyway, the point here is that Kazemi was totally different than this one yesterday, which is where I realized on a deeper level what's happening with my health. And this will probably end up being a really good thing. But I realized what is most likely the root cause of some of the symptoms. I didn't get the answers yet. But it was enlightening. But Capricorn has more to do with like our long-term plans and goals and where we're heading in the long haul. And so that makes total sense to me that I would have an eye-opening moment where I can see what is stopping the plans from being able to happen and then do something about it. So you can think about what was happening for you yesterday or in the last few days if you've had any kind of insight on what is going on with you in your long-term plans. This is going to be different for everyone because what we've got going on in our lives are different. But if you have been trying to find the root cause of a problem related to anything long-term you want to be able to do, this is where reflecting on what's been happening for you or what you've realized or what has come to light in the last few days or what has started over in the last few days may prove to be helpful, especially once we get into Mercury coming direct and then when it goes back into Capricorn and comes back to this degree, which won't be until the 21st of January. So we're on this little journey with our long-term plans, with our goals, with our life direction. And, you know, what we're up to that, you know, we just got cleansed and purified and had a reset on where we're heading. So now this doesn't mean you have a new job or big, huge things like that, but just the reset button sometimes is very subtle. Sometimes you don't even know it's a reset until you look back and see what happened, which is why so many times if you book a reading with me, I will be asking you what happened back in August of 2021, because that was the beginning of a cycle. And now we're at a different point in that cycle and we can see more clearly how things are shaken out. So that is what I have for that little tidbit. So we are going to go into our all signs forecast for Jupiter going direct. All right. So Jupiter is good, I think, whether it's retrograde or direct. Jupiter is wonderful. Jupiter is sometimes, though, I think a little bit overemphasized in astrology. So if I seem kind of down, like a downer about Jupiter, it's because I don't want to hype you guys up. I do not want to be the one who tells you you're going to get rich next week and then you don't get rich. I want to be the one you come to for real life things that are validated, that you can look in your external world and see that they are true. I don't want to hype you guys up and give you false hope. I want to give you real hope. So I'm not quite as like, yay, it's Jupiter, it's the best thing in the world, as some people might be. That being said, Jupiter's good. And sometimes what Jupiter does for us is it's the part of ourselves that is optimistic. It's our optimism, it's our faith, it's our ability to look on the bright side. It's our ability to find, even more than the bright side, to find the meaning in a situation. Jupiter, when we have a good Jupiter, when we have a healthy relationship with Jupiter, we have faith that things are going to be okay, but we don't require them to be. It's like you have faith, true faith, that you don't have to see anything in the physical world to have faith, right? Faith is just something you have. And so when we have a good Jupiter, it's our faith in humanity, our faith in God, our faith in the universe, our faith in all that is good. That is what we end up having if we have a good Jupiter. If we have a good Jupiter, we believe things are going to be okay, and because we believe that, they are. If we have a good Jupiter, even when something bad happens, we can see there's a silver lining, or we can feel like, well, at least it wasn't worse, right? We can see the blessing. And sometimes that is how Jupiter blesses us, is a bad situation is not as bad as it could have been. You know, like I don't know, you have some huge payment, but someone can loan you the money, right? It's like most people, if they have a huge payment and someone loans them the money, it's like, would you describe that as a good thing? Probably not. You'd probably describe that as a challenging situation, but someone helped you. So the Jupiter side is the someone helping you, if that makes sense. So sometimes we don't see Jupiter because it's happening, it's coexisting with the challenges of life. So sometimes we have to look a little harder. And that, again, that is what faith is, right? Is we don't have to see anything to believe, we just believe. And whether you believe in, your own goodness or the goodness of humanity or anything else, that is kind of the idea behind Jupiter. Now, when Jupiter goes direct, I think Jupiter's good, whatever it's doing. Almost all the time, Jupiter's pretty good, unless you're overeating or you're getting too much abundance or something. So Jupiter going direct doesn't change Jupiter's energy from bad to good, okay? Because retrograde isn't bad. It's just that planet has a little more of a winding path to take. Another way to look at Jupiter or retrograde planets is that usually we have a stronger desire for that thing. And sometimes that means we have to try something a few times before it will work. That's kind of what retrograde planets mean natally. Now, Jupiter going direct on the 31st, again, is going direct in an earth sign in Taurus. So this is why we see support, solace, and solutions, because Jupiter is our solutions, right? Jupiter is like what's good, and us being able to find solutions to things related to abundance, food, security, support, nurturing, really that grounded sense of nurturing, like self-care and massage and touch and physical things and the way things look and the beautiful sights and the smells and the sounds and the senses. So when Jupiter goes direct, we can find more solutions related to those areas of life, including our money and our abundance, because it's in Taurus. Including things like land and cattle and livestock and homes and, where we lay our head and our physical houses and just anything you can feel, taste, or touch is going to fall under that Taurus energy. So I think now is a good time to go on to the signs of the zodiac. So we're going to pull up the chart now. And let me get it situated here. So we're looking at the chart here of, this is the chart of, oh my goodness. Is this what I wanted? Yeah. We're looking at the 1st of January here. 2024, babes. 2024. Oh my gosh. I can't believe it. Okay. So technically, Jupiter will be going direct on the 31st of December, but we're using the chart of the next day, which is New Year's Day, which, by the way, there is a reason I do not set New Year's resolutions. Actually, I want the whole camera for this. Why we don't really believe in New Year's resolutions on this channel. We're going to talk about it. So I do not believe in New Year's resolutions because New Year's is not the timing astrologically to be making resolutions in the first place. It's not the right time. New Year's Day in astrology is in Capricorn season, and Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, the planet that rules death, the planet that rules things being cold and dry and dead and morbid and downers and things that are very serious and things that are very, looking at the harsh aspects of reality. Saturn rules this. Saturn rules the color black. Saturn in mythology ate his own baby, castrated his own father. Lots of really bad, horrible, harsh, grim things are associated with Saturn. Saturn is consequences. Consequences can be good sometimes, and there are ways to get on Saturn's good side, but Capricorn season is not the time to start taking massive action on a new goal. But the part of New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, the New Year's resolution that I like for looking at our goals is the fact that we're thinking about it. I think New Year's and Christmas, even this time of the year between Christmas and New Year's, where it kind of feels like things are a little slow. You know, if people do anything, they're hanging out with their families. There's not a lot of action happening. And this is a time where it's really natural to reflect. I mean, how many of you naturally reflect on your year past around this time of year when a new year is coming? It's so natural to think of what you've accomplished, what you haven't accomplished, and to be willing to look at what needs to change in order to get to where you want to be. This part I am 100% aligned with doing at this time of year because it just feels so natural during Capricorn season to be aware of, you know, where you feel like you're not measuring up to your goals and what might need to change so that you can, you know, what might need to be sacrificed. You know, that's a very Capricorn thing in order to reach them. But I do not agree with the Gregorian calendar in the sense that it takes us out of our natural connection with the stars. When we live our lives by a date on the calendar, I don't care if it's 11/11. These are not the dates to really put the highest importance on because the Gregorian calendar takes us out of our natural connection to the planets. And so does the belief that we are living in a matrix, you know, or that we're in a simulation. These things take us out of our connection with God. It takes us out of our connection with the universe. It takes us out of our connection with this organic, moving ecosystem that we live in. So not only is setting goals on the first and trying to go hard on them not usually going to work. Most people's New Year's resolutions don't even work. But it is not living in attunement and in alignment with the universe, with universal cycles. If you want to reflect right now, reflect. Reflect as much as you want. Get serious about what you want. Journal about it. Think about it. Contemplate in silence and quiet. Do all these things that are totally in alignment with the season. But if you want to start off fresh with a new goal and you want tons of energy and you want to start off with a bang and do something new and exciting that takes courage, March is the better time for that astrologically because that is the beginning of the astrological new year. And yeah, Carolyn says goals and living life should be more in tune organically. Yes, they should. So now that I ranted on that, let's go into the horoscope for all signs. So let me get our chart up again here. We are going to start with Aries and we are going to be going through all 12 signs of the zodiac. If you're watching this after, there will be timestamps and let's get into it. Actually, I need my timer. Let me set my timer. Let me have a drink of coffee and then we'll do this. I have to set a timer so I don't spend too much time on my own sign because I feel like I know it better. Oh my God. Okay. Our timer is up and here we go with starting with Aries. Starting with Aries. Okay, so for Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising, we have Jupiter going direct in your second house of money. And as you know, as that's happening, what do we got? We got a nice little trine between Jupiter and the Sun. This actually always happens where when an outer planet goes direct, I was going to drink coffee. Hold on. When an outer planet goes direct, we end up, usually it's trining the Sun. Hi, Kathy. Hello. And hello to everyone else who has jumped on who I haven't shouted out. Robin, Andrea, Jim, Jeannie. All right, let's get going. Okay. Here we go with Aries. Let's start over with Aries. Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising, we got you guys. Jupiter direct in the second house is going to be a time where there's more potential to make money. And you know what it is, wherever Jupiter is by house in your chart tells you what you're going to feel best about. Does that make sense? You feel happiest if you're making money right now. Period. You will feel happier if you're making money or if you're spending money. That does not mean go spend all your money. But you will feel happiest during the time that Jupiter is going through your second house. If you are increasing your income, creating more abundance for yourself, living in the lap of luxury, enjoying little things in life that you like. And, with that trine to the sun in the 10th, it's going to illuminate career stuff. It's going to illuminate what track you are on. For some Aries, who knows? This could be a time, especially on the 1st of January. We've got a grand trine here between Jupiter, the moon, and the sun. So good energies around getting shit done. Even after I just ranted to everyone about how you shouldn't do too much on New Year's. It does feel like this will be a time to plan. Really good time to plan what we want for ourselves. New Year's Day 2024 is a good day to make plans because we have not just 3 planets in Earth signs, but 3 planets trining each other in Earth signs, which is a grand trine in Earth, which is go do stuff. And not just go do stuff that's like impulsive like a fire sign would. I say this as a fire sign. But make those plans for your future that are in alignment with what you want and take one steady next step. Now, for some Aries, you guys, this might be cashing in on something. There might be a little bonus or something going on. For others, maybe you end up working more. Maybe you're putting your heart into your work on this day, but Jupiter going direct in general is going to give an opportunity to possibly make money or see a solution to a money problem or a work problem. That is what I'm going to say, and really pay attention to what's happening for you on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day 2024, because there might be some insight into your work life and how you make money from the work that you do. There might be some change or there might be some focus on this that ends up being an important thing that we see as Jupiter continues moving through Taurus. Also, for you Jupiter rules in traditional, we've got, or not, in traditional, sorry, your 9th house and your 12th house. So one way to see this too is as Jupiter's been going through Taurus for Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising, is that you might be realizing how you have sabotaged yourself when it comes to money. And okay, so you may realize that you might see, and this might be where the blessings come in from Jupiter here, is seeing where you've self-sabotaged when it comes to money and being able to do what you need to do to fix that or repair that, or even just having that conscious awareness that you can bring to that area of life now. How have you avoided money or made decisions that cause you to make less money? This might be something you can really see now, especially because if we can see here, see where Saturn is here, 3 degrees of Pisces, and Jupiter is at 5 degrees of Taurus. This is a beautiful sextile. So Jupiter goes direct while it's sextiling Saturn in Jupiter's house. So Pisces and Taurus, these are both feminine signs. So it helps us to not just take care of our own senses, take care of our own selves, but do it in a way that maybe feels connected to the whole universe. Maybe see and face with Saturn in the 12th, facing those fears, Aries, facing those subconscious things and getting a lot of bang for your buck if during this time that's what you're focusing on. So highly recommend going into that darkness, being willing to have the courage to face those fears related to money, and fears with Saturn in the 12th, just fear of things you can't even put your finger on sometimes. Just fear that like the hand of God is going to come along and wipe everything away. And making sure you're taking action in your day-to-day life to take care of yourself, to take care of your bills, to take care of your job, to take care of your, your reputation and your life direction while this is happening, and taking care of your things as well. Maybe, for some Aries, who knows, maybe you're selling stuff and you're getting rid of it and there's emotional stuff attached to it. So it's a release of more than just things. For others, maybe it's like you're polishing up your fine china or something. I don't know what you guys do. Taking care of your stuff is our keywords here as well, that can somehow help or alleviate psychological fears. So if you're afraid of losing something, or something like that, now is the time around the 1st of January to be just taking care of the thing you've got. Enjoy it while you have it. If you're afraid of losing it, enjoy it while you have it. That's what I have for Aries. Let me know, guys, if that resonates. Let's go now to the next sign on our list, which is Taurus. Taurus, sun, moon, and rising. So we are looking here at Jupiter going direct for Taurus. So let's start our timer. For Tauruses, this is in your first house of you. So this means your life direction, your hope and optimism toward life is going to be highlighted. And because it's trining the sun in the 9th house of the meaning of life, it's really all about what do you believe in, Taurus? You know, this is the time where maybe there's some clarity on what you believe in. Now, sometimes the 9th house stuff isn't always fun. Sometimes it's not like, oh, yay, I had this beautiful spiritual retreat. Sometimes 9th house stuff is like when you realize something you believed wasn't true. And, you know, the moon crossing this point on the 1st as well can bring moon in the 5th for you. Can bring some insights and realizations around how you express yourself in life, as well as like how you, how you express yourself, how you pray, how you connect with the universe, what you believe in. And really, you might be having some moments where you're wondering or wanting to change how you act out what you believe. Like, are you living based on your beliefs? I feel like around New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, Tauruses, sun, moon, and rising are going to get a little bit of insight on that. Are you living in alignment with your beliefs? Now, Jupiter in the 1st, sextile Saturn in the 11th, this can be Jupiter in the 1st is like you just going after what you want or feeling more optimistic about life in general. And then with Saturn in the 11th, sometimes this is a time where you are isolated from friends or where you are stepping up to something that helps society. So for those who are wanting to do some kind of community project or group project or put yourself out there in a new way, in a public way that relates to your beliefs, I think at this time, Tauruses, that might be happening. Now, keep in mind that Taurus also rules the vocal cords. So some of you might be singing, some of you might be chanting, some of you might be doing things related to music, especially, you know, with the 5th house moon involved here, the moon transiting that. Even though the moon is a more temporary thing, it's like there is a bit of energy here, again, on how are you expressing yourself? What are you saying to people? What are you holding back? And what needs to be said, especially in a group setting or to a group of people or in something related to putting your faith into action. Putting your faith into action would be my keywords for Taurus for this one. So that's what I have for Taurus. Moving on now to the next sign, which is going to be Geminis. For Geminis, we have this happening in your Jupiter going direct here in your 12th house of self-sabotage, of the meaning of life, not the meaning of life, sorry, that's the 9th house. 12th house of isolation, self-sabotage, spiritual connection, you know, the things we don't see. So that's things we don't see about ourselves because they're too painful. That's psychological stuff. It's spirit guides. So Jupiter in the 12th is like spirit guides. Jupiter in the 12th is like when something bad happens and miraculously you're okay, but you don't, no one knows how. And it's things you have to look hard to be able to see. So for Jupiter in your 12th, with the trine over to the sun in the 8th, this is a psychological thing for you. Very private transit, very private experience of maybe some of you Geminis do some kind of meditation or contemplation with your spirit guides or go to a psychic or do something else where you get insight on your inner workings and have that illuminated for you. This is a good time to do inner work, Gemini. It's always a good time to do inner work, but this is a really good time to do inner work because it's like, because it's like, let me see how to explain it. you get more bang for your buck, or you get better answers. If you're praying to spirit guides, when Jupiter goes direct in your 12th house, you get better answers. If you are trying to overcome a loss, that's another thing that this would be good for, if that makes sense. It's good for moving on. It's good for healing, psychological healing. It's good for getting to the root of some kind of fear or phobia or something else, and really seeing what you're dealing with and creating a plan to move forward. Not all of you are going to have psychological craziness coming up. It's just, if there's weird psychological stuff happening, this is a good, like, the transits are good for Geminis to fix it, to work with it, to deal with it, because Jupiter in the 12th helps you come to those solutions in that area of life. For some, this can be getting sober or dealing with that topic, but it's also sextiling Saturn in the 10th here. Saturn in the 10th generally being a time where you can cash in on the work that you've done in your career if you have worked hard up until this point. And then with Jupiter sextiling it, and Jupiter being the ruler of your 10th house, you might be working behind the scenes right now, Gemini, especially on some long-term project or something you've worked on for a long time, or something that requires a lot of sacrifice and dedication. None of those things are bad, but it does feel like a kind of a more of a private experience, but working behind the scenes for your job and working with others behind the scenes in ways where you're shining, but people aren't necessarily going to notice that shining. And what I mean by that is, like, if you're a therapist and you're helping clients, well, people aren't going to see that it's you who helped that person. They're going to see that person is no longer afraid of certain things, or, right? Like, if the therapy is working, they're going to notice the change in the person. They're going to have no idea it's you unless that person goes out of their way to give you credit. This is one of the challenges with people with 8th house suns, is they don't get credit for stuff because no one knows it was you, because it happened in like by influencing someone psychologically, and no one can see that. But that being said, back to also Saturn in the 10th being your 8th house ruler. So the 8th house is like other people's money. So it could also be a good time where some of you might be trying to get loans or dealing with other people's money with your work, especially for those who that's what you do for your work, is you deal with other people's money, or you help them get insurance benefits, or you, especially things like accounting or taxes or investing, things that directly handle other people's money. For this, there may also be benefits from working behind the scenes to solve problems related to that. Either way, I would say this is a good time for Geminis to be working behind the scenes. You have more potential to be getting good results from doing your work behind the scenes, from even having, some of you might be having relationships behind the scenes, or more private time with a partner. Or if you're single, Geminis, reflecting on why you're single, or reflecting on what needs to change to not be single anymore, something like that, where it's like, or being grateful for the time you have alone. Sometimes there's that too. So that's what we're gonna say for Geminis for this one. And we're gonna move on now to the next sign, which is Cancer. All right. So for Cancer, we have, let's see what we have. We have Jupiter in, Cancers have Jupiter going direct in the 11th house here. The 11th house of fun. This is a good one I like to see Jupiter in, because this makes your life more fun with your friends. I said the house of fun. You guys, I've been calling the houses wrong all day. The 11th house is not the house of fun. The 11th house is the house of friends and hopes and dreams. And it is one of the good houses. 5th and 11th, these are like the blessed places, right? So having the greater benefic going direct in one of the best places it can be is going to probably bring some fun and some happiness and some potential to feel more optimistic about your dreams in life, some potential to have more fun with your friends, to enjoy life with others more. Now, Jupiter in Taurus is sextiling Saturn in Pisces. Saturn in Pisces is in your 9th house of the meaning of life. When Saturn goes through your 9th house, you can be a bit of a downer, because it's like Saturn brings seriousness to your faith and your optimism and your hope. But Jupiter making this aspect, it almost is like someone teaching Stoic philosophy to a group of people, right? Because it's like Saturn in the 9th bringing that more serious philosophy, and then Jupiter making it more public. Now, there's other ways this can show up. It could be Saturn in the ninth could be not traveling as much. Saturn in the ninth could be doing some kind of long-term in-depth education to prepare yourself for your career. And Jupiter in the 11th could be like when you start, when you're doing like a course and then you have to start doing the classes to teach it or something like that. Now, Jupiter also rules your 6th house. So we see work involved in work might be influencing you to meet friends in order to accomplish something related to 9th house stuff, like other countries, other languages, philosophy, in-depth education of any topic, or I don't know, the law. Any of those things could be happening. Now, Jupiter in the 11th, because it's your 6th house planet, could just be like your day-to-day life right now might be more public. You might be doing more that other people can see. You might be doing some kind of charity or something, where you're spending more of your time helping others. Or again, work can contribute. The day-to-day work you do or the day-to-day schedule you have can contribute to a more enjoyable life. That could be because you're eating better food and now you feel better, right? It could be because you got a new workout routine and you're working out at the gym now, or you're joining some class to do workouts that's like, I don't know, has some element of meaning to it, almost like doing yoga, where it's like it's not just about the physical movements, it's also about connecting to the soul and spirit. So that's another thing that can be happening here. I think for Cancers, the biggest thing I feel for Jupiter direct is that connection to your hopes and dreams, and having that maybe be rekindled, or being able to find solutions that might involve making commitments to a new belief system or taking a new course that can help get you where you want to be. So that's what I see it as best for. But feel free to, take what resonates. It is a general reading. So we're going to move on now to the sign of Leo, and Cancers, let me know how that lands for you. And if any of that is accurate, I always love hearing from you guys. All right. I need more coffee. And we are going on now to the sign of Leo. I love Leos, you guys. I am probably the worst at having favorites of the signs. I know a lot of these astrologers out here are like, if you don't like a sign, that's your shadow. And I can see that it's true, but I'm not trying to be like some, psychology warrior who's like trying to fix everything that's wrong with you all the time. Like sometimes it's okay to not like a sign. So if you just need permission right now, I'm just going to give you some permission that if there is a sign of the zodiac you don't like, it's okay. You don't have to use that as a reason to do deep inner work. I mean, don't be a bitch, but like, it's okay to not like certain people. We all don't like certain people. So just know that that's how I feel about that. There are certain signs I don't like, but I don't like talking about them here because then I think the people who I would like will think then that I don't like them. And I've seen astrologers do that where they don't like my moon sign, or they don't like, and I don't know what it is, but it's like a lot of the things about my chart I've heard other astrologers talk shit about, and I'm like, it just makes me feel bad. Like, I do not want to make anyone feel bad about themselves, right? Like, it's okay to not like certain people, but I don't want you to feel like that means something bad about you. It doesn't mean anything about you. Okay. Let's go on now to the sign of Leo. The timer is started. All right. Leos have Jupiter directing your 10th house of career, your legacy, what you're leaving behind, while the sun there is in Capricorn. So what we've got in the 6th house of work. So this is a work-focused transit because it's like, what am I accomplishing? And you might be ready to solve some problems. Some of the challenges you've seen recently related to your long-term goals. You can even think back to what was happening on around the 22nd of December related to your long-term goals. What did you realize needed to be fixed or changed? Or related to your routine and your workouts or your diet. So either your diet, your workouts, or your actual work schedule or something related to how you do your work day to day. Now might be a time where you're ready to start seeing the solutions. It's like we've gone into the problem, we've gone into the awareness of the problem. Now we're ready to solve it. Now we're ready to start looking for solutions. It doesn't mean we'll be taking the action we need to take to solve it, but it's like we're looking for the guidebook now, where we know what to look for to solve our challenges. So Jupiter in the 10th brings more bang for your buck when it comes to your work life, your professional life, your public image, and being able to grow that. So some Leos out there might just be focusing more on growth in the workplace. That would be my first keyword here, is growth in the workplace. Whatever your workplace is, fill it in if you're a freelancer, whatever you do. With Pluto at that 29 degree of the 6th house, it's like it does kind of feel like this final push to change something related to your routine. And it might just be life timing, right? Some people, it's like your kids are getting to an age where now you have more of your free time. For other people, maybe it's like other things that would naturally cause a change to your day-to-day schedule. But with Jupiter in the 10th, it feels like a season of growth, or a season to cash in on the growth that you have. And with it sextiling Saturn in the 8th, this could have to do with a partnership, especially if your partner has a business or something. This could be a time where putting energy into that, or making sacrifices for them to have a business. Who knows? Maybe your partner's like, we got to get by with less right now. Saturn in the 8th. Typical definition is that the income you relied on from your significant other or other people gets delayed or is less than it normally has been. However, with Jupiter here in Taurus, there's still a good side somehow. There's still a way to work or to make it work with that less thing you have. So let's say you couldn't get a loan. Jupiter in the 10th is like, you can make the money yourself, or raise the money yourself, or get the client yourself, or do something else where somehow that restriction or that inability to get that money from others somehow still it's overcomable, but somehow it might turn into a blessing. It's almost like your partner doesn't give you as much money right now so that they can invest it into something. Now, I'm not guaranteeing you're going to be wealthy from this transit. It's a general reading, but it does feel like sacrifices made related to other people's money at this time might pay off more than they would at a different time. And that some of that sacrifice for you might be doing more work that's like unpaid right now so that you can get paid later. Or it could be the opposite, where you're cashing in a little bit on some of the work that you did in the past to put yourself in a more visible position, especially if now with that Jupiter in the 10th, you find you have more visibility. So that's what I have for Leos. Let me know if it makes sense. I always love hearing from you guys. And let's go from there. And all right, so the next sign is Virgo. And for Virgos, we have got Jupiter going direct in your 9th house of the meaning of life. So Jupiter has been here in the 9th house, bringing more emphasis on faith, while Uranus is here, bringing some sudden changes that might have you questioning what you believe, or feeling like you can connect more deeply to the universe, God, a higher power at this time. Every time Jupiter goes direct while it's in your 9th house, it's like a new chance to see God, right? To see God in the situation, to see how life is meaningful, to see how everything is meant to be. And with it trining down to the sun in the 5th, there might be some faith and optimism about something related to your self-expression. How are you expressing yourself? Do you feel more comfortable being yourself? Are you going to start speaking another language, Virgo, and be less self-conscious about it? Are you ready? How are you putting yourself out there right now? There might be something related to 9th house stuff. So that's other languages, travel, other cultures, the law, your beliefs, courses, teaching or learning, publishing. that you might feel more confident or have a little boost to being able to like put forward in life a little bit more at this time. Now, this sextile from Saturn to Jupiter, Saturn in the 7th, sextiling Jupiter in the 9th, making a commitment with a significant other can help you feel like life is more meaningful. And you have to kind of see where you're at in your relationships for this to make sense. If you're already with someone, are you talking about having kids? Are you talking about settling down? Are you talking about taking on some new responsibility together? Are you going to buy a house together? Are you talking about moving overseas together? If you are single, are you thinking about what you would need to be serious with someone? Are you saying no to the things you don't want? Are you having good boundaries with the things you don't want in relationships or long-term friendships? And how is that possibly helping you feel better about life? It's like Jupiter in the 9th really does make me feel like it's about feeling better about life. Jupiter also rules your 4th house of home. So for some, it might be considering moving overseas. For others, it's like your home might become more comfortable in some way, and it might just be more fun or more happy or more relaxed or bring you some comfort in some way. Maybe you get a better mattress or something, right? It could be something small like this, where there's some kind of new experience that makes your home life feel more meaningful, or you're on the road more and it's more fun or something like that. This could be so many different things. So for Virgos, what I feel here is life can become more meaningful at this time, but it's going to be determined by how you're expressing yourself. Are you being yourself? Can you shine? Can you be creative? Can you sing? Can you do the things that you would normally do for pleasure and enjoyment and fun in life? The sun is really highlighting that, like having fun, making life feel more meaningful, and maybe doing it with someone. That's what I see for Virgos, and let me know if it lands, and we're going to move on to the next sign, which is Libra. Okay. Going on now to Libra sun, moon, or rising. Jupiter is in your 8th house of other people's money, sex, and death. So what does it mean for Jupiter to be direct for you? Well, this can be a time where you feel like you're more connected to a significant other. For Libras who are in relationship, it's probably having a deeper level of intimacy with that person. For those who are not, you can still have more intimacy when you're not in a relationship by just getting close to people. You might be getting closer to people at work. You might be getting closer to friends. And for some, that Jupiter in the 8th might have more to do with your taxes, your finances, and that getting better. Making investments, or if you have investments, if you have anything where you're managing other people's money in any way, this might be a time where you're helping other people make money. Or you're dealing with money that's like risky investments, or like your own sort of self-employment income could be growing. Or with Saturn in the 6th here, this could be a time where you're actually making the plan to grow your own self-employment income, but you haven't done it yet. Or making a plan for what you're doing day to day that helps you to grow as a person. Because the 8th house is also, to me, like, when we overcome fears, that's 8th house stuff. When we become a better version of ourselves, it's like, what is your plate in life right now? When that plate gets bigger, you can handle more things because you've grown. That to me is an 8th house experience. So growth, just general life growth, that is probably going to come through changes in the home, or focus on home, or working from home, or changes to family dynamics. Or something related to your day-to-day schedule. Maybe you are working from home and you're doing more. Maybe you are. Saturn in the 6th sometimes sucks, Libra. It sometimes sucks because you got to work harder to do the same amount of stuff. So, but the good side of Saturn in the 6th can be when you are focusing on it. We're focusing on what you can do to your day-to-day life to make it better. It might be your health. It might be your work schedule. It might be getting more efficient. It might be learning a new skill on top of your job so you can later down the road, like, cash in on that skill, right? So this is a season of life since March, because that's when Saturn got here, of probably making some sacrifices in your day-to-day schedule, probably having less time on your hands. But maybe those sacrifices are things you really want to accomplish. Because Saturn rules your fourth house of home, this can be making sacrifices so that you can have the home you want someday or something like that as well. That's not always going to be everyone. Some of you, it will be that. Or working on your home or something. Okay, so that's what I have for Libras. Overall, this energy is good for creating deeper levels of trust with others. It's good for managing employees. It's good for, I would say, even delegating to people possibly. It's good for taking on new responsibilities that you know are going to help you get to where you want to be. And it's also good for like facing fears and knowing people deeply and, having these new deeper layers of intimacy with people. Now, that intimacy might be sexual, but it may not be. It may be just trust and connection, or both. So that's what I have for Libra. Now going on to the next sign, which is going to be Scorpios. All right, so Scorpios. We have Jupiter going direct for you in the seventh house of relationships. So it's all about partnership and who you're with right now. And that direct Jupiter trines the sun in the third house of communication and day-to-day commute, like day-to-day errands, running your errands, your communication with other people. So Jupiter trining the sun is like a highlight on what you're saying to people in the conversations you're having. You might be having some good conversations because Jupiter is your money planet. And it does make aspect to Venus in your second house right now. You might be doing marketing or doing things that really focus on how you're saying what you're saying. But with the sun in Capricorn, it makes me feel like you're saying less, but saying more. Does that make sense, Scorpios? Maybe you're saying less, but those few words are gonna say more. You could also find that you're investing into a partner, right? Second ruler in the seventh. That could be a thing. You might be buying stuff for your partner or investing into something together, going in on something with a friend. Those are possibilities. But overall, that Jupiter in the seventh can bring growth in relationships. You might feel happier right now if you're coupled. You might feel happier if you are doing things with others. With Jupiter sextiling Saturn in the fifth, Saturn in the fifth can be helping you, and take it with a grain of salt what Saturn helps us with, because Saturn helps us through showing us the problem and not letting us get away with it until we fix it. And that's happening in your fifth house of creativity and self-expression. So I feel like there's a lot of emphasis here on if you are focusing on how you're saying what you're saying, focusing on how you're coming across right now, that you're going to get more benefits from it. That might be because whenever we have Saturn, it's like, yeah, you get benefits from it, but maybe those benefits are because you don't get the negative side. Like the benefit might be that you had the conversation you didn't want to have and you avoided a problem, right? So sometimes that's the benefit of Saturn, is like we get to fix a problem. Does that make sense? So it's all about self-expression here. How are you coming across? How are people receiving what you are saying, and is it landing? With Jupiter here, it might help you solve these kind of problems, whether they be with your relationships, whether they be with customers on a bigger level, whether it be at work. The sun in the third is your 10th house ruler. So it's about work relating to communication. Now you might be communicating less at this time, and that's how that is showing up as well. Okay, so then, overall, Jupiter direct in the seventh is giving you chances to grow through relationships, to expand your finances through relationships, to have fun in relationships, to be creative with other people as well. And Saturn will really put emphasis on getting good at your craft at this time. And whatever was happening 2.5 years ago when Saturn went into Aquarius, the end of 2020, that would have been a time for Scorpios to start getting serious about this next 14-year cycle when Saturn is at the top of the chart. So that is what we have for Scorpios. Now moving on to Sagittarius. For Sagittariuses, we have Jupiter in your 6th house of work. So some of you just are going to be working overtime. Sometimes Jupiter in the 6th house brings you more work. Sometimes it brings work, though, that has the potential to be like the highest potential, I think, of the 6th house is being devoted to something that maybe has the potential to bring rewards down the road when Jupiter hits that 10th house. Now, this is not a guarantee that anything you touch right now will turn to gold, but it is a good time to put your heart and soul into what you do, because with Jupiter in the 6th, there's not a lot of potential that it will pay off right this moment. It's almost guaranteed when Jupiter is in your 6th that you're working on something that you're not going to get the results of right away, or you're working on something that's more of a charity project, or you're doing something that's more to help other people and to be of service to humanity, or just to take care of stuff that needs to be taken care of. Sometimes Jupiter in the 6th is taking care of a sick family member, something where you're putting your effort into something that you don't directly get anything for, but it's like, it's still, you still might want to do it, So that trining the sun in the 2nd, it feels a lot more work focused for you, because it's like Capricorn, sun in Capricorn in the 2nd is illuminating your money. How much money do you have, and how much work are you working to get the money that you get? Maybe right now Sagittarius might feel like they're working more than they should to get the amount of money they have. That could be part of how this is showing up. And with Mercury ruling your 10th house and being the planet that has been retrograde, it's almost like maybe around the 20th of December, did you feel like you realized what was wrong financially, or the 22nd of December? What was clear to you on your long-term financial goals at that moment? Was there a moment where something changed, or there was a reset or something? Because you're still in the part of the cycle of, even though at this point Mercury is not retrograde anymore by the 2nd, it still can be a point where there's still more to figure out before you're launching the next thing on the right footing. So it's like, what footing do you need to be with your finances, with your home, with your how much you're spending versus how much you're making, long term, what's working, what isn't working. That's all going to be seen here. And yeah, with Mars approaching Mercury, it's like you might feel, and Mars isn't really approaching Mercury anymore, but Mars hit Mercury. That's going to be, you're going to feel more motivated right now to figure it out. So it's a good time to figure out how much you're making long term, how much you need to be making, how much you're working versus that. And maybe working on something, try to make sure you don't waste your energy working on stuff that's just giving to other people and doesn't give you anything back, unless you consciously want to do that and you're in a time of life where that makes sense and you're okay with it. That would be the thing I see for Sagittarius to kind of look out for. Also, making money right now is going to make you feel really good. So it's almost like there's a potential here to come up with some kind of long-term plan that helps you financially. And that planning and like getting excited about the plan and like talking to people about the plan, that might feel like an important thing at this time, especially because with Mars being close to Mercury here, Mercury being that 10th house ruler, it's like, this is like selling, right? Because it's in your 1st house. This is like telling everyone about what you do. It might not even be selling. It might just be talking about your long-term plans, talking about how meaningful life is now that you're doing this different kind of work, or having more conversations. And for you guys, I didn't do this for anyone else, but I want to go back and see when Mercury, or sorry, I should be on days, not hours, when Mars hit this Mercury, because it just feels more significant for Sagittarius. So that would have been on around the 28th of December. So what maybe was sort of inspiring you or fulfilling you? And I know right now this is live, we're on the 23rd, but I'm saying it like this because people are going to watch this after. So what's happening on the 28th of December? For those of you live, you'll be able to look ahead for this. That's like stimulating your work. Now Mars can sever. So what kind of work are you saying I'm not going to do anymore? That's another thing. What kind of work are you getting de-assigned from at work, Sag? And we're not on your rising anymore because I moved it all around. That's what I would say to really look out for here. So hopefully that was not too confusing, considering I just I changed tenses for past tense to present tense a few times in that one. So thanks for hanging in there with me on that. So what I'm doing now, guys, is I'm just trying to get back to where we were. And that's going to take me just a moment, and then we'll go on to Capricorns. All right, so we are here. Okay, so we're in Capricorn now. So next up we have Capricorn. After that, we have Aquarius, and then we will be moving on to the sign of Pisces. So here we go with Capricorns. Capricorns, we have Jupiter going direct for you on the 31st of December, and that's going to be happening in your 5th house of fun. It's the fun house, so have some fun. Now, this is also going to be creativity, feeling like your creativity has more comes online, and your self-expression, like just being yourself. You might just feel more of an ability to be yourself at this time, or you might also feel more like you feel good if you're being yourself. Being yourself will make you feel better during this time. Now, trining the sun in Capricorn, this is going to illuminate your life direction, and how much of your life direction is focusing on you, things that you birth into being, right? Because that 5th house is like, it's where babies, it's babies, it's creativity, it's self-employment, things that we create, right? This life force energy that we create. So the sun really trining that, illuminating this ability to think of the long term and make the sacrifices, but also enjoy right now, enjoy the path, have the sustenance and the sustainability to, and that's, I should have said this for everyone, but that's what I feel for this Jupiter direct is like, let's get onto the sustainable path, because if we're not on a sustainable path, we're getting burned out. So now Mercury has been retrograde before this point. And so Mercury on the 22nd of December had that Cazimi with the sun in your 1st house. So really, really good time for Capricorns to ask yourselves, what did you realize at that moment? What problem related to your life direction or what you want to do got highlighted? Did you learn more about, or did you hit the reset button on? And how now up to, how at the end of December, are you able to move forward in your creativity, your life direction, creating a new path, forging the path you want to forge? For me, this feels like Capricorns might be taking another road right now. Some of you might be turning slightly in the road that you're on. Now, Saturn in the 3rd house, sextiling Jupiter in the 5th. This is about communication. It's about also kind of like it's also like your local environment, right? So Saturn in the 3rd, it's almost like you're committed to doing more stuff with your community, or you learn more, you take more classes. How is some kind of class you want to take helping you be yourself? Are some of you doing like improv or something where you're like learning how to be yourself in a way, or doing dancing classes or something else that's like just allowing you to express yourself more? Others of you, Saturn in the 3rd, you might, I don't know. I always think of cars. You are Saturn and you are in the 3rd house, which means you are learning stuff. You're thinking about what you learned. You're having fun learning it. You're going to courses. You're growing your ability. Now, this might not be fun. It might be technical. You might be growing your ability to make your mark on the world and have an influence by learning stuff. reading books or taking classes or something, little mini classes probably. And then that sun trining Jupiter. Jupiter rules your third house ruler, sextiling third house planet. So it's like lots of growth in your fun or your dating life or your flirting or your kids can be had. Lots of growth can be had through learning right now. Tons of it. And let me see if I can connect anything else here. Yeah, that's really it. I think that's it. Growth through learning, and that growth that can last you for a lifetime, right? So it's not just like learning something you need right now. It's not like learning how to pass the SAT and then be done with it and never doing that stuff again. It's like learning how to make friends and influence people, and then you do that for the rest of your life. So maybe learning some skills that are stackable at this time is kind of what I have for Capricorns. But I do think this is kind of a bigger one for like, what car are you driving on the road of your life, and what road are you taking? I think for Capricorns, it's going to be bigger like this. So that is what I have for Capricorns. Moving on now to the sign of Aquarius. And here we go. Aquarius is Jupiter going direct in the fourth house can bring focus on the home and having a peaceful home or having growth in the home. For some, this might look like getting comfortable in the home or doing something that makes your home more sustainable to you. So like, this is really going to depend on what was wrong with it, if there was anything wrong with it. So like, gosh, I don't know why plumbing is coming to mind, but like plumbing is something that makes your home sustainable. And if you don't have it, it's going to mess it up, right? So it could be something big like that. It could be something small like, making sure you can afford your rent, sustainable like that. So, I mean, that's not small, but I think of it as smaller than plumbing, but whatever. Anyway, Jupiter in the fourth can also bring a focus on your inner world because that fourth house is our roots. It's our emotional foundations. It's what we need to feel okay. So when Jupiter is here, this is a good time to journal, to do therapy, to do anything. I'm not saying you need therapy. I'm not diagnosing or treating anything. But sometimes when the fourth house is activated or the 12th house is activated, these are the times people are doing this naturally because they want to, those planets bring this connection to your inner world and your inner harmony. And with Jupiter here, it is a very good time to learn things that can help you overcome fourth house problems, overcome overthinking, overcome just not feeling okay in your own skin. Jupiter is a good time to learn how to work with your nervous system. A good time to practice doing different activities that are designed to give you peace of mind, that are more a long-term thing, not just like, oh, I feel better in this moment when I listen to music, so I'm going to listen to more music. More things that you're investing in your long-term, like I don't know, yoga is supposed to be really good for the nervous system long term, so it's like these things that are not just going to help you in the moment, but like by doing this as a practice or looking at it in this way, you can have a better experience with your emotions forever, right? Like for long term, for the rest of your life. Jupiter in the fourth can bring more happiness to your home life. Now, this could also be your family life if you have a family. You can just be happier if you're spending time with family right now. And with the sun in the 12th, that's really what it could be. Just being behind the scenes, spending some time with family, spending time with a significant other if you have one, and just enjoying that private, kind of comfy, cozy time with each other. That's another way this can show up. But it can also be doing some inner work on what is going on with your partner, right? Because 7th house ruler in the 12th is like your partner can be a little bit more, there's stuff below the surface there. It could be them. It could be the way they make you feel. Your partner can highlight your own emotional or psychological challenges, right? They can make you feel like, I don't know, like more aware of kind of what you might be doing wrong, more aware of things that you're afraid of. Now that can be in a conscious good way or a challenging way, right? Like if someone is like, don't get in a car accident and you get scared, that can be one way that someone brings attention to your fears. But it could also be like, they're like, oh, are you upset about that? Can we talk about it? It could go many different ways. Either way, the potential here is for personal growth and growth of the home. So because Jupiter is your second ruler, you could be investing in your home at this time too, or you could be ready to figure out what in your home to invest into. You could also be spending money on like little courses or things, again, that are more psychological in nature. So that is what I have for Aquariuses. Let me know, you guys, if that resonates. And we are going to move on to one of my personal favorite signs, which is Pisces. So for Pisces, we have your Jupiter going direct in Taurus, which is you. Jupiter is you. You're going direct in the third house of your local environment, your neighborhood, your communication, your ability to listen and hear and speak and do all those things. And like, especially day-to-day communication and even your car. Now, what do I feel for this for Pisces? Probably more focus on speaking up, probably more focus on being heard, especially with Saturn there making that sextile. There have been some things, Pisces, that you have had to sacrifice since March. You have made some sacrifices. With Jupiter in the third, I feel like there's a slight possibility you could be cashing in on some of that now, in the sense that it becomes more, I don't know, something you can now talk about. There's something that makes me feel like whatever you've been doing since March, maybe now there's a time you can make it more sustainable. Okay. So whatever more work you're doing or extra project you've taken on or whatever it is, that you can make it somehow more sustainable by teaching or learning or communicating. So that feels like a positive. Also, with Jupiter trining that sun in the 11th house, this feels like a chance for Pisces to see the potential, the long-term potential of your hopes and dreams in a new light. It feels like something maybe is opening up here. It might not be a huge flood of things, but something might be opening up here related to your hopes and dreams. And you can think about what was happening back on the 22nd of December. We're live today on the 23rd, so that was yesterday. But for those of you watching this after, think about what was happening then. And you guys can watch this one again to go back because sometimes you get more out of it. So Sun in the 11th, highlighting your hopes and dreams, highlighting the long-term path toward your hopes and dreams. And Mercury was Cazimi the sun at this place, not 11 degrees, 0 degrees of Capricorn in this house, in this sign on the 22nd of December, causing a reset or an ability to see the problem. So what kinds of problems related to your long-term goals were you seeing at that time? And now, now that we're on the 31st, what feels more possible based on your ability to communicate or to communicate in more succinctly, or to be heard, or to hear, or to listen, or to understand? What is more possible related to your long-term goals based on that understanding that might make what you've been sacrificing for since March worth it? That is my question for you. And I want to leave it there for Pisces because it's just, that's the question. What is going to make it worth it? And there's some kind of possibility here, and solutions related to marketing, related to speaking or communicating or doing third house things, which is like learning or teaching or talking or emailing or, any form of communication. What do you need to do to make that more sustainable? How can you, say more while doing less, kind of a thing, or just say more even? Especially since the sun is the ruler of that sixth house of your day-to-day work. It's like something lines up, something clicks into place here around the 31st to the 2nd of January. That's like, okay, now this is how we can make this all work together. That maybe these pieces were separate before. So let me know, Pisces, if that makes sense for you. And I recommend you guys go back and watch this video again closer to the 31st or the 2nd of January, because at that time you're going to be able to look back and get that reminder of looking back and seeing what was happening yesterday, the 22nd. Because even though the Mercury Cazimi and Jupiter direct are two totally different astrological alignments, here's how they're connected. The Mercury Cazimi happened in a sign that is trining the sign Jupiter will go direct in. So it's like we have this reset in this area of life that can sort of power that Jupiter in a way. It sort of connect to the solutions. So this is why I'm going on and on about Mercury in this video about Jupiter, is because they're going to have that. It's like there's an interaction here in the sky between these two planets, and the positive potential when Mercury and Jupiter connect is like communication is online, communication is blessed. We can get more out of what we're saying or what we're trying to communicate at this time. So I also have a new reading, a new 10-minute video reading you can get. It's called Your Blocks to Blessings, and it's where I identify the biggest challenge in your chart, and I tell you in a personal video. You don't have to be there. My scheduler forces you to set a time for this, but you don't have to be there. And let me put a link for this in the chat. Let me see if I can find it really quick. So those of you who want to check it out can do it and enjoy it. Oh, did I take it out? I took it out. I'm going to find it really quick. You guys can just watch me stare at the screen for a minute. I know it's so much fun. I always say like someday I'll have it together. I don't think I'm ever going to. And I think it's fine. I found it. Here we go. We're going to put this in the chat. We're also going to put this in the description of the video. So those of you watching after can also get that Blocks to Blessings video. I do a limited number of these. I only do them every couple weeks. So if you want to get, and eventually I'll be taking these down and I won't do them anymore. So if you want to get it, now is the time. And I'm adding it to the description right now, which I shouldn't be doing, but I am. Okay, this is what we have for today. So here's what I want you beautiful souls to remember about this whole experience in general. We have yesterday, Mercury had that Cazimi in Capricorn, December 22nd. This was a reset to our long-term goals. And for some, it will feel like a reset. For others, it will feel more like negative information. Like you figured out what was in the way. You figured out what the block was. You figured out the obstacle to the long-term goal, or you figured out in some way, shape, or form. You got some insight into why whatever was happening before wasn't quite working and what needs to be fixed, what needs to be changed, what needs to be worked on. So we're going to be on this journey of getting more insight on this all the way until Mercury comes out of shadow on the 21st. When Jupiter goes direct on the 31st, we'll probably start feeling more like we can find the solutions. We'll probably start feeling more like a little more solution aware, a little bit more able to consider, okay, how do we do this sustainably? Sustainable is one of the keywords of this Jupiter direct because Jupiter is in Taurus, which gives us more of an ability to be supported by the universe, so to speak, or be supported in our physical bodies, be supported in our health, be supported in our vitality, what we need to feel nourished. Okay, nourishment and sustainability are key here. Now, when Mercury goes direct on the 2nd, we may also feel a little bit of movement going forward. But again, Mercury gets out of shadow on the 21st, so that's when it's really going to be like, okay, now we've gathered all the data. We know what's going on. We're aware of what the problem is, and we might even have a solution or at least be started on the path toward the solution so that we can create our long-term goals. And if you want to know what long-term goal I'm talking about, well, you can go back to your section of the video and watch and see based on your rising sign, your sun, moon, or rising, you can watch all three to see exactly what area of life this might be showing up for you. And remember, these are general readings, so you always have to take what resonates. No matter how good the astrologer is, you always have to take what resonates and leave the rest, because these alignments are going to impact your personal chart in a different way. Inside of your natal chart, there's a natal promise. There's a bunch of them. And as the planets move around that natal chart, those different natal promises get activated. Okay, this is why the last Mercury Kazemi, not yesterday, but the one before that, I got stung by a scorpion. Not everyone got stung by a scorpion, right? Because they don't have that natal promise in their chart. Now, of course, this is kind of a silly example, but it's true. Not everyone gets stung by a scorpion in their lifetime. Not everyone has a car accident. Not everyone finds the love of their life. Not everyone gets famous, right? We all have different natal promises. And this is why in astrology, we need to go beyond looking for, oh, what placement will make you a wealthy person? And go beyond that and find out how we use the chart we have to our advantage. So I'm going to leave you with that, beautiful souls. For those who celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas. For those who celebrate any other thing, happy holidays. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye.